I do not discriminate. I like all cheeses. You know what I don't like is bad cheese. That's what I don't like. Hey, I'm Chef Marc Murphy, and I'm going to be making a super duper cheese and meat board today. For me, a cheese board really has to have variety. For me, it has to have a couple different kinds of cheese, a couple different types of meats. The most important thing about doing a cheese and a charcuterie board is really sort of, going out and finding the right ingredients, doing your research, see who's carrying good cheeses, see who's carrying good charcuterie. I think, it really comes down to the product that you have is what's gonna merely make this cheese board and the charcuterie shine. Okay, the first thing I do when I start making a cheese board is I put the cheeses down first, and then I'll start sort of arranging my charcuterie around it. So first I've got myself a great aged Gouda, which is got a nice sharp sort of a nutty flavor. Then I've got an Emmenthal, which is basically a Gruyere cheese. It's a Swiss cheese, I guess other people call it. So it's got a nice variety. It's very different than the two. Then I've got a dried goat cheese here, dried sheep's milk. And then right here, now this is the stinky one. I always like to have one stinky cheese, and this is called an Époisse. It's got a washed rind. It smells very, very pungent. One of my favorites as well. It's a little gooey, so it's got to get it somewhere where it's going to be able to run. You're not going to be able to move that afterwards. And then, of course, I've got my mortadella, one of my favorite. It's the king of bologna, really. It's absolutely fantastic. You can get some really good quality stuff. It's all imported from Italy, but of course, we're also making it in America as well. Then I've got some prosciutto. This is some prosciutto from Italy, little San Daniele. One of my favorites, a nice salty treat. And then we've got bresaola, which is actually dried beef. And I think it's a nice alternative to all these other pork products. And then we've got a little just straightforward, some salami here. And of course, there's many different types of salamis out there. Some have fennel in it, and some don't. It depends on what you got going on. And then sort of to garnish this, I love apricots. So I'm gonna put a couple apricots on the plate. And these actually, I think these are Turkish apricots because they're darker than the actual, the orange ones. Then also, we can also put a little bit of honeycomb. Now, honeycomb, this is the real, look at this, I put so much on here already. So honeycomb, sometimes you can eat some of the cheeses, especially some of these drier cheeses, a little bit of bread, a little bit of honey, just gives it another little dimension. And of course, a little mixture of nuts on the plate. What else do we have? And then we can sprinkle some olives around, because I don't know, olives just seems like it goes well to me. It gives it a little refresher, and it also sort of brightens up the whole plate as well. And then sometimes, if I have enough room, I'll put my crackers and my bread on the board, but I think this is gonna be just fine. I've got all sorts of different crackers and different breads here. I've got some baguette that's toasted. I've got some baguette that's actually fresh, and then a whole bunch of different mixture of different crackers. You can also make your own crackers if you want to really, really go at it. I forgot one cheese, my favorite. I'm sorry, there's one more cheese. This is the camembert. So as you see, I've filled up my board. You know what? We're gonna leave the camembert on the side. It's fine. Extra cheese. The way I usually arrange a cheese board is I do put my cheeses sort of on the outside corners and then the meat's in the middle, because people are gonna come in and you've got these cute little knives that people are gonna come in and wanna cut the cheese on the side, and you can get to it easier than if you put all the cheeses right in the middle. And of course, with like a camembert, for example, I would like to have that on a separate plate because you wanna get a nice wedge of that. And of course, as I think you should all know, make sure you take out your cheeses way in advance. You want to get them to room temperature. A cold cheese, that's a problem for me. For me, I'm not sure if there's just one cheese that belongs on a cheese board, because I think it depends on the time of day. If you're doing a cheese board, let's say before dinner, I would definitely always have a nutty cheese like the aged Gouda, because it's nice and dry and you're gonna have a cocktail with it. It goes really well with a glass of champagne. As far as the stinkier cheeses, maybe not for before dinner. That might be more of a brunch thing that's more inclusive into a whole meal. The most important thing is if you have a good cheese shop, go to your cheesemonger and talk to them, because they know cheeses really well. That's all they do. And they're not scared about teaching you, and they want to introduce you to new cheeses. And if there is a price point that you're looking for, just taste the cheeses. They'll actually give you a taste in a good cheese shop. There's so many different cheeses out there. There's something for everybody. There's a lot of times in cheese shops, they're going to sell those jellies, like those quince pastes and things like that. It's up to you if you like it. I'm not a huge fan, but I think that some people do. So, every once in a while, I'll throw one on the board. You know, I really like the nuttiness of this cheese here, which is the aged Gouda, with a little bit of the honey. It kind of gives it a different, you know, it gives it a nutty and a sweet quality. And it's nice to try them both ways. So here we are. This is my dream cheese board. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I will. Yum.